Hi everybody, this is M from DIYM. Today I wanted to make a faux ring pop, which I thought would be really cute. It probably isn't going to look exactly like a ring pop. It might look a little bit smaller, but anyways, I'll show you what I've got here. And there's a few different ways of doing this sort of thing. If you want to, you can get a real ring pop and use the base here as a ring that you can submerge in some sort of molds. Because you can get molds that look like this. You can make jello or ice or something like that out of it, like an ice cube tray. I think I have one actually. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, well I found this. This isn't the exact same thing, but basically you can get molds and you can fill it with resin if you'd like, something along those lines. But I don't really love using resin. I like to try to avoid it if I can. It can be toxic in the environment, and I have asthma, so I like to use safety precautions when it comes to my lungs. So you can get stuff like this, obviously, or you can get, I think there are ones that look like actual gems. I had them. I don't know where they are. I think I used them to make some melted crayons at one point a long time ago. But anyways, so you can get something like that and you can submerge this in here because it has a little thing, so it should stick to things pretty well. So this is going to be a little harder, I think, to actually stick on. Anyways, I'm going to open up this little ring pop. Yeah, so they look kind of like this. Super cute. Probably be eating that a little later. So they look like they have a little bit of candy around the edge just so that they stay on a little bit better as well. And this is probably just from the mold and they just didn't clean it up or something, but either way. I'm just going to put this in a bowl and put it off to the side. But I just wanted to show you guys the example that we're working with. This is the real deal thing. What I kind of wanted to use was something like these guys. So I've got white bases and black bases for rings that are similar to a ring pop ring. And so what I want to do is I want to get one of these gemmies. Again, it's not the exact same shape because it's obviously a little different, but what I want to do is I want to put that on top like that. So it has a similar concept, but it's really difficult to put things on top when they have this little point. So it's good to get some kind of, I'm going to try to sand things down with a sanding block. So you can get this regular sandpaper. So we're going to try a few different methods because I've never done this before. If you want to, you can cover your surface, which I might end up doing just because I know there's going to be a lot of dust everywhere and it might be a little bit easier to clean up. Another thing I definitely recommend, especially if you want to protect your lungs like I do, is wear a dust mask because resin and microplastics is not a fun thing to breathe in. So I would say do this and clean up your surface as soon as possible. Try not to breathe that stuff in at all, if that's possible. Okay, so if I'm talking at all in this video, you might notice that I am going to have a mask on, so you might notice that my voice is a little bit muffled. I also feel like it might be muffled just a little bit just because of the chair that I'm going to be sitting on in just a moment. But yeah, so I'm going to try to get all things set up here and do that stuff on camera. Oh, another thing I'm going to talk about real quick is you can use either or of Dimensional Magic or glossy accents. They don't dry instantly, but they dry clear and they bond really well when you're doing jewelry products. I'm going to probably use the glossy accents just because it's a finer tip. It's a little easier to use, but they basically work pretty much the same. Both clear dimensional mediums, very resin-like. You've seen me use it on this channel before. Non-toxic. So they should be a lot easier to deal with, especially if you're indoors. And they dome up, but I just want to put a little bit on just so I can glue things on. Okay, so I need to sand down this point just so it has some sort of base to glue on. So I might do a few different colors of this. I may not do a clear one, but I probably do all three of these different colors here. First, put something down on the surface. So sometimes I like to use press and seal. It's kind of expensive, but I find it sticks to the surface pretty well. A lot better than, say, cling wrap would. So you can actually use it in a craft space, which is really cool. It's good for lots of different things like portion freezing, stacking and storing sandwiches and snacks, crafting, wood, paper, metal, all sorts of different surfaces. I love that it has a stickiness, but it's not really a residue on the bottom of this. I think it's kind of brilliantly done. Having some of this ring pop off to the side and it's actually really tasty. It's like strawberry or something. All right. Just gonna put on a mask. So we're gonna try this because it's a little rougher than some of the other sanding things that I have, and it's a little bit easier to sand onto. So I'm gonna try this pink stone first. Another thing you could do is you could always put this down like this and sort of sand that way. I just find it's a little easier to sand like this and have it wear down over time. And you can do it on a flatter surface because this is actually starting to get rounder because it's more of a sponge. So I'm going to see if this actually works a little bit better. This is P120, almost like a coarser grit. So it might be better to be on a harder surface because this is kind of like a sponge. Yeah, I think this is a little flatter doing that. So, whoops. I don't know, I picked one that kind of had this thing going on just so you guys can see what's happening here a little bit better. You can definitely do something that doesn't really have these weird things on the ridge. Just sand it down until it feels flat enough for you to work with and put on here and glue down. So I'm gonna do a few of these gems before I start gluing stuff down onto things. I might do 2 of each color just to show you the different combos with the black and the white rings. Yeah, I think having some sort of sandpaper and having some sort of harder surface on the bottom actually really helps quite a bit. Make sure you brush the underside because there's going to be a little bit of resin dust. Okay, just going to do a little bit more. I don't want to do it to the point where I'm getting my nails. I just want to do it a little bit because I want it to be raised up still quite a bit. Maybe just a little flatter. Just so you guys know, I think I got these either at the dollar store or they might have been at the pet store, because sometimes you can find gemmies to put in fish tanks. So if you look at the fish tank section, sometimes you'll find some really cool rocks and gems and things like that. Honestly, I think that the pet store is kind of like a nice alternative craft store sometimes. Sometimes they have some really cool stuff. I've used corncob bedding, which is hamster bedding, or some sort of rodent bedding for Rice Krispie treats, or you can actually make fake nuts. This is all fake food stuff. So yeah, that I think works really well. You can also use a Dremel. I just find that the Dremels, when you're using them, they're just so fast that sometimes things can fly out of your hands and it's a little dangerous to use. But if you are really good at controlling things, maybe you're clamping things down really well and you can control things really well, then by all means use a Dremel. Again, I would suggest wearing masks and all that stuff. Another alternative, which I don't know if it's great or safe to do because there's a few factors that I think are a little dangerous, are heat tools, where you could probably heat things up and cut it off with a hot blade or hot knife. So that could actually potentially burn or cut you, maybe both depending. So there's that factor. Also, you might be releasing some bad resin fumes into the air as well when you actually cut something like that. So I feel like that's more of a dangerous method than what I'm doing right now. This isn't the best because of the dust particles that can get in the air, but I think it's a little bit more controlled. And it doesn't really take that long to really do this sort of thing because you're just trying to get a little bit more of a base happening here. Okay, I'm going to put that guy aside. I'm just going to do the blue one as well on camera, and then I'm going to do the same 3 off screen, and then I'll show you the gluing process for this. It's hard to get started sometimes because I want to hold on to it, but I also don't want it to do stuff to my fingernails. I have sort of short-ish fingernails on this hand right now. It's not that big of a deal. You might want to just go in one direction for a moment until you get some sort of flat surface to work with, and then kind of go back and forth. And be careful because this can come out of your hands real easily. Try not to scratch the rest of the surface. Just try to, if you can, get this bottom part. I've got lots of gems to play with because I don't know what to do with these half the time. I thought that this might be fun for Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day or something like that to give some friends of mine so they have almost permanent, fake, cute ring pops on their fingers. I just thought this was a really fun, cute thing to give to somebody if they like that sort of thing. And you can do clear ones too if you really wanted to, because I do have clear ones here. Looks like a big giant diamond or something. If you like that kind of look, you do you. But I want it to look like candy, and I feel like these gems kind of look like candy. I've been wanting to do these for a little while now. Making fake ring pops. Maybe a little bit wider. I'm gonna brush off a lot of this dust in the garbage can. Say you don't really get that much dust on here and you've got other projects to do, you can always reuse this resin seal. I don't want to get too sandpaper crazy here. I may have sort of scratched it slightly, but that's okay. It's hard to see. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the camera. I'm going to do 3 more of these guys, and then I'll show you the gluing process after that. So make sure you're not sanding this on an angle. I just wanted to say that in advance. One good way to test and see if they're pretty flat is to stand them up on the side that you just flattened. So this guy looks like it's a little on an angle. It's falling over fairly easily. So I might want to redo this guy, but that one seems to be okay. Is this guy? Not too bad, actually. It's probably a little rounder than the rest. Oh, no, it's okay. This guy still needs to be sanded a little bit more, but it seems to be standing up a little bit. It kind of look like those diamond doorknobs that you see back in the day, the retro ones. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going with this one, but I just wanted to show you. I think it was this one or something. It was a lot more on an angle, so I might just flatten these 2 out a little bit better, and then we'll get to gluing. You can wipe down your surfaces too, or throw this out, but I need to use this plastic just so I can glue stuff together, right? So I might actually just keep a lot of the black, even though the black is classic, I might actually keep a lot of the black rings. I just want to show you the color combo, the black and the white, just to see which ones you like more. I have a lot more white rings. I like to use black rings for Halloween more than anything. I'll only have 3 left over, and then I'll have like a ton left over here, so. And they look really cool. So you can sort of see the black does kind of pop out a little bit more, but I do kind of like this. It's a little softer, which is really nice for Valentine's Day. I'm gonna put these guys away back in here. I'm gonna see if I can get a few more of these if I can from the source that I got them from. I'm gonna see if I can link that down below for you guys, if I can find the actual source. I don't remember the company name, but I think I have the business card around here somewhere. If I can find them, I will try to link that down below for you guys. So I'm gonna do a bunch of white rings here. I'm gonna flip things over. I know that a lot of these guys can stand on their own, but I'm gonna flip a lot of these over. And actually, and dust these guys off if you can, so that you don't really have so much dust happening here. So it's okay if the glue kind of seeps out a little bit, because it's going to look like the real ring I showed you at the beginning, right? Yeah, these are pretty strong glues, and they normally set up probably within a few hours, but I like to leave things overnight a vast majority of the time, as you guys know on this channel. Oh, looks like it's sticking already. Okay, there you go. So I'm just gonna leave these for a few hours and see where they're at, if I need to re-glue anything. And I apologize, there's some stuff going on outside. Whoops. I'm still letting these guys dry, just so you know. I watched a video with somebody named Lucas Ferrar, I think his name is, but I'm gonna link the link down below. So he shows how to take ring pops that already exist and does a mold with it. So you can take this one is a non-toxic mold by Cast and Craft, in case you just want to put some putty around it. So this is a different version of a silicone mold than he was doing. He was doing 2 parts, like an A-B sort of thing. I think it was 1-to-1 ratios, and then mixing that and then just making a cup and inserting that in there. So you can do that, his method. You can do this method that I was just telling you about. Again, 1-to-1. It's like putty, and then you just put it around, surround this. It should have instructions on the back of how to do it. So you can do that. There's other ones like this, liquid latex rubber. It's kind of smelly, by the way, but you might want to put something in it to stiffen it and make it a little bit easier to stay together. So there's that. Another one I have is this one. These are old. I haven't used these in a long time. This is not a non-toxic one. If you're going to be using this, you might want to eat another one of these, right? Make sure that one of these is clean when you're finished making the mold. Whatever mold making thing you have, just follow the instructions or watch videos on how to do it. So you basically clean this guy off once the mold is done. I would say make some resin. It's normally, again, 1-to-1 ratios, and normally it's 2 parts or something. You could always do a UV resin as well if you wanted to, but I find that it's probably gonna be a little bit easier to make regular resin and just let it dry for 24 hours or more. But I would say just do the resin, mix it. You can have it clear resin. If you want it to be a tinted color, this guy did not mention how to color it. If you want to do a tinted color, I would say just put alcohol ink a little bit at a time and very slowly stir it. Some sort of color would probably be best if you wanted to make it more see-through. If you wanted to make it more opaque, maybe do some acrylic. There are more opaque and transparent resin colorants as well that you can do, but I would suggest if you want it more transparent, you might want to try an alcohol ink. So that's just if you want to do that method. Again, there's so many different methods. Some people might even dip an already existing ring pop in resin. I don't really recommend doing that. I don't really like resining already existing food, because you never know if it's going to go bad inside and rot, because sometimes that can happen. So sometimes they're fine, especially if it's just hard candy or something. It might be okay, but over time, probably years and years and years down the line, it might get kind of disgusting. So I would suggest doing the mold method to make your own mold, or if a mold already exists, then I would say do that method. And if you want to see the guy's video, I'm going to link it down below so you can watch it at the end of this video. I'll show you this when this is all dry. I just wanted to sort of talk about that, just in case you're interested in that sort of thing. Okay, I already took off the plastic wrap, also known as press and seal. These guys, I only left them for a couple hours, which this stuff seems to be on there already. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer though before I actually play with it, and I've got rather large fingers, but if I wanted to, I can stretch the stuff out. I don't want to do that though. Are they cute? They look very candy-like, which I love, but still kind of classy. And there's the actual ring pop version. So they are a little different, but you kind of get the same vibe from it, and it's not a lot of effort. This honestly, it took me a few hours to do, not even. I just had to let them dry more than anything. Yeah, I think that they look super cute. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty cool that you can just take these kind of gems, just sand them down a little bit, and then glue them onto an already existing ring base. Again, I'll try to see if I can find these guys and link it down down below if I can, if it still exists, that is, because I got these a while ago. It's very hard to tell if this is going to be still around at this point in time, or if the business is still around. You might be able to find stuff like this on Temu or AliExpress, again, if that still exists. I don't know what the climate of the world's going to be like in like a year, because I'm doing this right after Valentine's Day, actually right before Valentine's Day, after doing a whole bunch of Valentine's Day videos. Just wanted to talk about that. Another thing I wanted to say really quickly is, in case you wanted to make these look almost like they have some sort of sour sugar on them, there's a few different alternatives, and you can even mix the alternatives if you'd like. But you can get a white or clear sand, and you can even get pink sands and all sorts of different sands dyed, so you can probably match it to whatever the gem is. But yeah, get some sort of sand, take some Mod Podge and spread it around over top of the gem itself. Then you can dip that in there. So there's sand, or you can use fine glitter as well, or you can mix the two. If you want glittery sand, you can do that too. So that will kind of give off a sour ring pop look, which I think would be really cute. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I would say check your local dollar store to see if you can find these gemmies. If you can't find those, maybe try a pet store. Check the fish section, because pet stores are really great places for craft supplies sometimes. More people need to check that stuff out. A lot of people don't think about that sort of thing. And if you can't find them, you can always look at Amazon or anything like that. So I'll see if I can link some stuff down below, some sort of alternatives if I can find anything like that. But yeah, these are really, really straightforward and easy to make. So in case you don't know what to do with these particular gems, there's a little idea for you. They're always really pretty to look at, even in this little jar. But if you want to actually use your stash and use things, this is a fun little project, and you can make a whole bunch of these, to be honest, in less than a day. Really, really fun gift to give somebody for Valentine's Day. You can even do a fun DIY joke engagement ring. Anyways, this is just a fun idea for Valentine's Day, anniversaries, engagements, all sorts of love days. You can even do birthdays, Christmas, all sorts of fun stuff like that. I don't know, I think it's a really, really fun and easy fake bake. If you don't want to actually use resin, just sand a little bit off the bottom and you're good to go. And you can easily pop those out. No pun intended. Easy peasy make. So if you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you think somebody else is going to like this, please share the video. Anyways, I'm gonna pretty much wrap this up. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day, Palentine's Day, all that stuff. Have a good one, guys. Bye!